G'day YouTube, Down to Bricks here, and welcome to this week's video where we're back in the Western Town. Now, in my last Western Town update, I talked about how I was finally happy with the location of the train track. So now I've got that locked in, it's time to make it look pretty. Let's take a closer look. So from the last update, this is pretty much how we left it, and this video is not about the train, it's about the train track. So let's get rid of the train and get down to where the action is. And this is how I had my train track in my old Western Town layout. So it was pretty simple. I had it raised up. Let me get it off these base plates. I had it raised up using these plates, and then I just simply had it tiled, trying to cover up as much as the grey as possible. But this time I want to lay down some ballast. So what is ballast? In real terms, ballast is the gravel that lays under the train track. It beds your sleepers. So what does this mean in Lego terms? Well, we're not going to lay some gravel down, are we? But we're going to lay down lots of Lego pieces. And this will resemble some ballast. So let me explain a little bit more. We don't want this. Why it's practical, it's kind of ugly, especially for the Western Town. So we want to make this look something like this. Now I've had a few ideas here. This is where I started, and I actually quite like this. And then I did a couple of other techniques here where I've just gone, I've laid down some studs to resemble the gravel, and I've used long sleepers and I've put them one stud apart. And then here I've got shorter sleepers and I've got them two studs apart. And I actually reached out to some friends and family and got them to select what they like better. And I was actually leaning towards this, but I was the only one that preferred this over this. So I'm still not 100% sure what I'm going to do, because everyone was kind of split between these two. So maybe a bit of a combination. We'll have a play around and we'll see what I come up with. I kind of like this idea of having this longer sleeper. I think that looks pretty good, but we're going to play around. We're going to work on the train track. I'm going to time lapse a bit so we can speed it up. Well, I think that is about it for what we're going to do. Let's go and do it. Now, if you're wanting to do something like this, be prepared to use a ton of bricks. So I've grabbed a heap of stuff out. I've got tile trays, I've got greeble trays, I've got trays of all different plates here. I've got bags of plates, bags of 1x2 plates. I've got studs here. I have a stack of parts, a heap of stuff I've pulled out of the Western Town. So if you want your train track to look good, there is nothing wrong with this simple tile method. It's easy. I wouldn't say it's cheap, because tiles aren't cheap, but it is a cheaper way out of making your train track look good. But if you do want to take it to the next level, be prepared to use a heap of parts. Okay, so I have laid the track across the three plates here. Now, because I'm not going around any corners with the track, I can actually just lay it straight on the base plate. If you were to do this and you wanted to have corners to your track, you actually need to raise it up one plate to allow you to put some tiles under the corners of the train track. Now, the aim here for me is to cover as much of this grey up as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just use my base color for the whole Western Town, which is tan. So I'm just going to use these 2x8s and cover all of the track. So what we'll do is we'll just do a small section here and then I'll speed it up and we can just watch me go lightning fast. So let's just lay a few of those down. Now I need to get some 1x plates here and put them down as well. Not sure how far I'm going to get with the track, if I'm going to have enough pieces, because these 1x's are the ones that I'm a little bit concerned about not having enough. So let's just put a few of these down. Okay, like so. So let's just start like that. So as you can see, I've pretty much covered up all the grey except on the sides down here, which is a little bit hard to see on that angle. There you go. So I want to cover that up as well. So I'm going to use some reddish brown 2x plates. Now I did want it to mainly use some dark brown. As you can see, that's what I used here. Now, I'm sure I had a bag of these somewhere, but you think I can find them when I need them? No, I can't. So I'm just going to lay these down. I've got a few I've pulled out of the Western Town, so I'm just going to lay those down a little bit here and there as well. So let's grab a couple more. Let's just put 2 in a row here. Another one of these. And now we're off to a good start with covering up all the grey. And I mean, that doesn't look too bad just like that, but we need some detail. So what I think I'm going to do to start with is I like this longer sleeper. So I'm going to try that, but 2 wide. And the main reason I've decided to do that is just to save on tiles a little bit. Tiles are a lot more expensive than getting these studs. So I'll use more studs and less tiles. So maybe we just start with, I'm not even sure what's the best way. Do I start with a, I'm not sure whether I should start with a sleeper or start with some ballast. Let's start with ballast, shall we? So I'm going to have to drag in some parts here. Now with the gravel, so to speak, I'm going to use a lot of tan, brown and gold and a little bit of white. Every now and again I'll use some white and some black. But as I've got a big bag of this stuff here, of those 3 colours, I'll mainly use that. So let's put a bit more down here. And the big thing I find here is just try and alternate the colours as much as possible, and then we'll lay down some sleepers. Now I actually need to raise this side up if I want to have the sleepers go right across. So what I'm going to do here is, just to help with the texture, is use a lot of 1x2s, and I'm just going to create a little bit of shape going out from the side and then down onto the ground out here, just to help it spread out a little bit. So let's get some brown as well, dark brown. Put one that way, one here. Should use some 1x3s to change it up a bit as well. Some down here, and eventually, once this is in the Western Town, depending where the main road's going to be, I can spread this out a little bit more to make it look like there's more traffic going across the line. Let's put that there. And now we have virtually one piece, just short of one piece of track done. So to actually know how that's going to look for a whole length of track, it's a little bit difficult, but so far I'm liking this. I'm just going to keep going with this pattern. If I decide I want to change it up a bit, I'm just going to have to bring all these sleepers back one and see how that looks. But at the moment, I think this looks pretty good. So there is the train track, and I think that is going to look pretty cool with the train on it. So let's go take a look. Slide the track in, and yeah. Alright, now I think that looks pretty good. Obviously I have to fan the tiles, the plates out here a little bit, add a bit more terrain just to blend it in better. But I think that looks pretty good. Let's put the train on, and there we go with the train rolling into the station. Let me know what you think about this ballast train track. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to see more. If I spit it out. And let's just take a quick look down the street. Very cool. The town's a mess, but the track is done. As I said, let me know in the comments any thoughts, any suggestions. I would love to hear from you. But that's all for today's video. So I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.